Oh, hey, look, guys, you remember that Renew the Acolyte petition from change.org? We talked about this when it first got launched after the news of the cancellation of the Acolyte. Season 2 was not going to happen, but as many people that are out there, probably one of the 50,000 signatories of this very serious petition have pointed out, actually, it wasn't canceled. It was just not renewed. A distinction without a difference, really. And if you listen to some of the other rumors, because this is all off the back of rumors, and then also Disney deleting just about every presence that the Acolyte has on their store and through their search engine. They were assembling a team that, I don't know, apparently a short bus broke down outside of Lucasfilm's studio. They were assembling a writer's room back in April or February or something like that to work on a second season, but the moment that this came out and the reception that it obviously was going to get ended up manifesting, that was immediately disbanded. They had to ride it out, and then it wasn't even a week removed from the leaked cancellation news. They started scrubbing all traces of this off the platform. There's other rumors out there that there's no plans to completely get rid of this yet, but there was also rumors, and you guys are going to hear about this, talk about this sometime over the long weekend. No, it was just a part of the Taika Waititi video in regards to Lucasfilm. Maybe turning a corner, who knows, but Leslye Headland is completely out at Lucasfilm, okay? Well, there's rumors that, there's the Acolyte is going to be on there, okay? It's going to stay in the canon. If there is any indication that Lucasfilm is trying to course correct a little bit, scrubbing this from Disney Plus will be a big sign, because after, I don't know, all of these freaks eventually just get caught up in the next Star Wars thing to clap at when's the release schedule for the Skeleton Crew. I'm sure all of those creeps, they'll just go ahead and flock over to that. The moment that everybody forgets about the Acolyte, they'll just go, oopsie daisy, it never happened. Wouldn't be the first time for Lucasfilm. They scrubbed Willow, not but 6 months removed from the release of the show, so who knows, this could be a little Christmas gift at the end of the year. Fingers crossed. But that petition dropped, right? Okay, the 20th of August. And here we are 10 days later, and they've got 50,000, signatures. Is that so many fans are out there? And in the words of Drinker, okay, you can do it, guys. Exactly. Because I, for selfish reasons, do want a second season of The Acolyte. Also because it's one of the best comedies that I've seen in a long time. And all the cope that's been going around regarding the cancellation, right? Like, we've seen the shills, the Spurgs, the Stans all talk about how it's all of those toxic bigots that are out there. Oh, they caused this show to fail. It's like, frankly, they were probably the only people watching this stuff. The Star Wars diehards are the last people to give up hope that Lucasfilm can course correct. This really tried their patience, obviously. But all of the people posting about how important proper representation is, and you guys hating this just because it had a BIPOC lead character. Like, funny, where was all that hate and vitriol for Andor that came out? That came out 2 years prior, and then people are now looking forward to season 2 in early 2025. It has a non-white lead. It has a lesbian romance in it. Where's all the hatred for oh no, they just don't like only a racist would make us think of a new excuse. Ha, got him. But instead of, engaging your frontal lobe, doing a little bit of critical thinking, they blame everybody. Until you have to just wrap your head around the cold, hard facts, as pointed out this fellow right here. Shout out World Class Bullshitters, highlighting this post on Threads of all places. Is that where we're at? The Acolyte was canceled due to low viewership. I know, record low viewership, lower than every other live-action Disney Star Wars project. And I would love to know how it fares against some of the animated stuff, because I could imagine probably gets beat out by some of it. I don't know, okay? Bad Batch did get 3 seasons. I'm just saying, okay? That means general audiences didn't watch it. I know, right? They missed out on some belly laughs. They missed out on the lesbian space witches. Don't call them that in a derogatory sense. They're actually space witches that are all lesbians. There's just women on that planet. Like, that's what they are. Like, they mess with the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Which I'm sure that they'd probably try to work on renaming if there was a season 2, because you've got man and many, and that's just not allowed on Brendock. Wonder how many of those shills out there even remember the name of the planet of the Coven of Lesbian Space Witches, or the fact that Mother Anastasia turned into a proto-Nazgul and was trying to turn May into the Force. That's what Leslye Headland said was happening in episode 7 right there. Okay, she was killing one of her kids, and Master Soul was totally justified in yeeting her. Well, he didn't even yeet her because she was apparating into the Force, into the smoke monster, and then rematerialized around his lightsaber. Whatever. The entire show was stupid from toes to titties, and there were a lot of titties. So much so there was a set on a man. I don't need to elaborate on that. So why are we blaming toxic fans? Good question, my friend. Unless you're saying that this segment of the fandom is so large that their absence alone is enough to tank a film or TV show. Yeah, it's just never really worked before, because you remember when everybody under the Disney umbrella was running hot in 2019 when the same critiques of the poor writing were on full display for the likes of Captain Marvel, Rise of the Skywalker, or Rise of Skywalker. Don't need to put an additional "the" in there. Still, Palpatine wins at the end. But those are two legendarily awful films that nobody defends at this point in time, but they still made over $1 billion. 9 films made $1 billion, including that terrible live-action, quote-unquote live-action Lion King remake. And all of these toxic fans that were pooping all over the Acolyte, not in a way that they'd appreciate it, but just simply looking at character motivations, the plot, the performances. Why did those projects make $1 billion and this ends up getting canceled days after its conclusion? I'm just wondering why we're not thinking all of this stuff through. All right, because they don't. If that's the case, it would mean that they are the target demographic because they're the largest demographic. Oh, you see, that's how logic works, Reginald. Reggie's thinking, okay? And that begs the question. Why does Lucasfilm keep making things that their largest demographic does not want to see? Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting if you suppose the premise that those freaks propose. And then if you engage with that, you come down to the natural conclusion that, yeah, the show was just bad, bro. The show was bad and nobody watched it. Sucks to suck, I guess. But that's just the shills. Okay, that's just the stands that love to see the representation on screen. Okay, they loved it when Smilo Ren turned up and had his awfully choreographed episode 5 fight sequence where he forgot about his Shoto lightsaber in episode 8 that he could have used to great effect to actually win his battle against Soul. But don't worry about any of that stuff. They just clap because he had, little creepy teeth on his Cortosis helmet. And he got his little lightsaber out actually when he was exiting the pool that Amandla Stenberg made a very noticeable look at. So much so that it left such a lasting impact on her that now she's going to be attacking the fans because she's not going to be able to ogle Chimere in a second season. Like, is that what's going on here? Is that the motivation? Amandla Stenberg's response to the Acolyte being canceled. Yeah, she posted this unhinged rant on Instagram. It's 8 minutes long, and because I actually appreciate my audience, I appreciate you guys out there clicking on the video, I won't subject you to all 8 minutes of this up-talk stupidity, and she's clearly been on something. She's just wearing a weed-adjacent t-shirt, and I'll just let you try to connect the dots on that one. I, unlike Lucasfilm, respect your intelligence and don't need to spell everything out for you. But she says, paraphrasing, that the show suffered from tons of vitriol, bigotry, racism. I just need a couple more there, Theory. Okay, then we can complete our bingo card, but she's got all of them in there. And hate from alt-right, yeah, which essentially is why it got canceled. Oh, man, so we got alt-right, we got vitriol, we got bigotry, we got racism. And if hate's its own box, yeah, no, actually bingo. Hey, there we go. And if I could cash this in, I would actually make more on the Acolyte than Lucasfilm did. I don't know about all of that. I just thought it was a poorly written show that was boring and, effed with the lore. Yeah, I know, right? You bigot Theory. Come on now. That's using your brain. I'll have a response video up soon. A couple of things to chime in on. Yeah, exactly. And well, we could just go ahead and break this down care of the synopsis from that Park Place. Amandla Stenberg confirms the Acolyte is canceled. Yes, exactly. That's probably the most concrete cancellation acknowledgement that we've got, because you remember Manny Jacinto just posted a little heart and that stupid end scene of them, him and Osha holding hands staring out on unknown planet. It was the final scene that we're going to be seeing from the Acolyte, but nobody has officially acknowledged that this has been canned, so I guess, shout out to her for breaking some news. Okay. And proceeds to blame a rampage of hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol. Oh, there you go. If you needed anything else to finish up your bingo, okay, vitriol, hatred, bigotry, and alt-right didn't all line up. Okay, you could have hyper-conservative. I guess that's a new one. never really considered, your traditional, what you'd think of when, conservative comes to mind as being hyper, but okay. Amandla Stenberg, the actress who played May and Osha in The Acolytes, did it so well you could barely tell them apart, except for one had longer dreads until she cut them off with a lightsaber. Confirmed that the show was canceled, and then proceeded to blame a rampage of hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol for why the show was canceled. No, bro, nobody watched. Your show was bad. You phoned in your performance. The only differentiation, okay, like if you actually watched the show, the only way that Amandla played Osha and May differently was May liked to yell a lot. That was it. That was really it. Osha and May, their character motivations were both equally ridiculous and multiple. In fact, it's like, even in one episode, what was that? No, 3 was the flashback. So 4, May does this face turn that she reneges on in episode 5. It's like out of nowhere, she turns on Chimere, who hasn't fully become Smilo Ren yet, and says that she's off to go turn herself into the Jedi, only when she gets accosted by little X-23, she decides to fight back because she's not going to be taken in by the Jedi, but I guess it kind of makes sense because she was a Padawan. She wanted to turn herself into a Jedi, and the only Jedi that was there in her vicinity was the dead Wookiee Jedi, Kalnaka, so couldn't really turn herself in there because then she would implicate her. This show is making my brain hurt. But in a video uploaded to her Instagram story, Stenberg stated, our Star Wars show has been canceled. I'm going to be transparent and say it's not a huge shock for me because this is the way. Because not in the cringe Mandalorian sense, but this is the way that it was all set up to begin with. You remember, there was a preemptive attack from Leslye, Headland, and Kathleen Kennedy on the fans that, there's going to be racism and bigotry. It's like, well, you could put out a good show. Nope, racism and bigotry. All right, we know what's going to be happening. And yeah, they did not disappoint. Of course, I live in a bubble of my own reality. Okay, just all you're missing is feels and vibes here, stupid. You're just a modern bitch to a T. But for those who aren't aware, there has been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced. Yeah, because it sounded really stupid. A female-centric Sith show with a bunch of kung fu. That's the way that it was pitched. Now we heard the creatives behind this. As what, the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein? Bruh, what are we doing here? Oh, and she wanted to model it off of Kill Bill and Frozen. This is going to be trash. No, you're just a bigot. It's like, no, I'm just a pattern recognizer. Modern Star Wars is garbage, and you can't write your way out of a wet paper bag. And nobody was disappointed at the outcome. When it was still just the concept, and no one had ever even seen it. Yeah, no, right? It's almost like when you guys released the trailer, and that got ratioed, but you said, you haven't seen the show yet. How can you be critical of it? There's a reason that trailers and promotional material goes out there. There's a reason that everybody memed on that stupid poster with the red splotch down the wall with the lightsaber hilt, and everybody just immediately went to the bleeding jokes. You know what I mean? It's because all of that stuff is released and it's made to hype you up. It's supposed to be a snippet of the larger show, and it sucked. The first line was close your eyes, and then they pan over to two alien species that don't have eyelids. We knew the moment that trailer dropped, this was going to be a cataclysmic failure. That's when we started to experience a rampage of hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, hateful language towards us. That's so good that she can at least, distinguish categories of hatred, where you just have plain hatred and hateful language. She can differentiate language, but she can't differentiate acting performances. Next, as she said, and this really affected me when I first got the job. It's just not something, even though I anticipated it happening, it's not something you can fully understand what it feels like until it's happening to you. Yes, she used feels. Mission accomplished. However, I feel like, Merch, I've kind of moved through those feelings in various ways, including being vocal about myself. Yeah, remember the diss track? Yeah, the unprompted diss track that came out, well, I think that was after the Kiadi Mundi episode, where everybody was like, yo, Leslye Headland, you broke lore, and you came out and said, everybody's being racist towards me. It's like, no, nobody even cares. Like, a lot of the critique of this show has nothing to do with Osha and May. Like, she just sucks at her job and her characters were trash, but that's kind of par for the course for everybody that wasn't Li Xiang-jae. Like, he's a good actor. He put in a hell of a good performance. Hell, even goofy-ass Manny Jacinto was decent, but nobody was talking about Amandla Stenberg. Like, You're just a narcissist and an attention seeker, and this is what you're doing right here. The show is deader than dead. Nobody's talking about this anymore, but you're bringing it up right now because this is your last grasp at easy attention. For me, it just became a situation where there was no option but for me to honor my sense of ethics and my belief system. Yeah, by saying that all white people are racists and they don't understand what it means to be black. Yeah, okay, cool. And my value system while being in this very unique position. Yeah, basically everybody in Hollywood's been in a Star Wars film, Star Wars production at this point in time. You're not special. Kind of like I had this very unique experience of experiencing an experience, because experiences are what matter in life, and if you don't experience your experience, then you just don't experience it. She's quite the linguist. Cunning, in fact. The world at large, which is, of course, hyper divisive right now. Oh my god, guys, Trump is the orange man's bad. Through the lens of a very unique opportunity of being in Star Wars. Maybe that's the quintessential hiring decision that goes on when it comes to casting a Star Wars project. You need to be a complete and total nut job. Paging Mark Hamill. The sped continues to go on and on and on and drone on and on and on. All about those racists and bigots that tanked her terrible show. But as our good friend Reggie points out, show's just bad, guys. Time to reconcile that. Put another goofy shuriken in your head. Try to make your hair do funny things. And I don't know, maybe you'll be in the next Marvel project, because that's the way that this sludge pipeline goes. Next stop, Ironheart. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.